everyone, it's Kevin
and PJ,
and welcome to episode 4 of Two Beers in Asia. Wow,
that is a winter beer.
this is really a winter beer. Now, let's start this video off. I've got this in my little beer, my Kiss Me I'm Irish beer cozy.
Are you Irish?
I am Irish, actually.
I am too.
I'm Irish Canadian.
50% Irish.
Yeah, I'm a North American. A pure North American, which means I'm kind of like a Heinz 57. You know, bit of this, bit of that. Some English, Scottish, Irish. But my name is Irish. And I'm drinking a Japanese winter beer.
Which is oddly sold in summer.
Which is oddly sold in
because
summer.
a lot of the seasonal beers are not. They're just sold
True.
on that season.
Hmm.
But that's a very good beer. And I'm drinking Keaton Stout.
Which this all really falls into a good theme of what we're going to talk about.
What are we going to talk about, Kevin?
We're going to talk about the availability of beer in Japan. Because a lot of people do send us messages, and I think a lot of the messages we get are due to the fact that both of our individual channels, we do show, well, beer. So in Canada, buying beer in Canada, there's a lot of strict regulations. You can't buy it everywhere, and you can't buy it late at night. And but yeah, so coming to Japan, it's a big change from living in somewhere like Canada, because you can buy alcohol all the time, and you can buy beer all the time.
Beer?
So, PJ, what are some of the places that a regular person can go to buy beer?
That's a good question, Kevin.
I thought so.
And not wholly unexpected. Anyway, where were we? Places that you can get beer. You can get beer almost anywhere in Japan. Convenience stores, which are open in most large cities, 24/7.
Very convenient.
Very convenient. Supermarkets, which in some states in the United States you cannot buy beer except in, as Kevin said, we have a similar system in some states, specially licensed beer stores. However, here you can buy it in most supermarkets, most convenience stores. You can get it in vending machines, and those vending machines are open. When do they start? Is it 10 a.m. or 9 a.m.?
I don't know.
Early in the morning until about 11 p.m.
Okay.
And frankly, some machines...
I didn't realize the vending machines had hours.
Yes, actually they do.
Oh, really?
Some aren't set up, but they're supposed to be. You can also get beer at Kentucky Fried Chickens.
Really?
Yes. Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't think it's Kentucky Fried
Chickens. I didn't realize it was a plural either. I had no idea you could do that.
Yes, you can. And they, McDonald's refuses to do it. But KFC says, hey, when in Japan? So they sell a beer there. Movies. Do you like going to a movie theater?
Yeah.
You can buy it. You can get beer.
I've seen people do that. I've seen people
And
buy
every
glasses
time I watch a
of
movie.
draft beer. You can buy draft beer, or just like cans of beer, and they pour into a cup at the movie theater, which I thought
I like a good draft when I'm watching a movie.
that's quite civilized.
It really is.
I think really civilized.
You can buy beer at train stations and drink it on the train. As long as you are not publicly intoxicated, you're allowed to drink in public in Japan.
Yeah, that's true. But there's a lot of I think there's a certain amount of discretion that's involved there.
A lot of discretion.
They do have open liquor laws in Japan, and you can drink legally. But I mean, if you're like, there are some foreigners who come to Japan and they abuse the privilege. Sure. I mean, they're just basically drunken jackasses, and they act very foolishly, and we don't recommend that. Don't act foolishly.
Give us a bad reputation.
Yeah, it gives all foreigners a bad reputation. So there are open alcohol laws, and you can drink, say, for example, on a train, if you are relatively discreet about it, I suppose, and you are relatively sober. And basically just remember that most of the people around you are not drinking, and they are just basically probably, at the end of the day, looking to go home.
And therefore, nothing you do is funny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
but that said, Japan has very, very strict rules about drinking and driving. 0%. You can't have any in your blood. Although the chances are they don't have police traps the way we do in North America. They do, but they're very uncommon here.
I've seen a few lately in Kobe. I've been seeing some. They do have some police traps, but it's not quite as prevalent.
No,
yeah,
but if you ever get caught with even 0.001%, you lose your license minimum. Also, bicycling and drinking is forbidden, although a lot of people do it. But so Japan has this. There's no puritanical streak here. As long as you're not harming other people,
Yeah.
They are perfectly fine with you drinking in public or acquiring at any time of the day on Sundays, midnight. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's just basically, I mean, again, open alcohol laws. And I think a lot of foreigners who come to Japan and come to a country like Korea, which has very similar open alcohol laws, they really abuse it because they're just...
Sure.
They're so excited the fact that they can buy alcohol anywhere 24 hours a day and that they are allowed to drink in public. So I think a lot of people just really go overboard and, well, essentially, especially younger people, will act like jackasses.
Definitely.
And it really, the unfortunate thing is that when you live in a country where you are a minority, a lot of people look at people behaving badly and they paint you with broad brushstrokes.
You represent the entire group, whatever group that may be.
You don't, like, as a foreigner, you don't just represent foreigners, well, you represent all foreigners in many eyes. So people look at you and the way you behave, and they assume that all people from other countries behave the same way as you. So if you're being a jackass and, like, on a train, like, doing cartwheels down the aisle, or yelling or singing or being really obnoxious, they assume, oh, look at that foreigner being obnoxious on the train, he's drinking. All foreigners are that way.
There's a misconception that Japan isn't really open to foreign products. And that was first true when I came here in the early 90s. It isn't true anymore. If you live in a decent-sized city, you will be able to get many foreign beers, specialty beers, microbrews, craft beers at larger supermarkets, gourmet-type supermarkets, and the larger liquor stores.
Yeah.
Now, if you live in a small town, this may be an issue. But if you're living in any size city, I mean Osaka, Kobe, Kyoto, Himeji, of course Tokyo, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But any city with more than 500,000 people, which is not a large population in Japan, you will find at least a few stores that carry these things. And something like these beers, Japanese, they're not really craft beers, but specialty or limited run beers, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But even Western beers, can you think of, like, what was it, you said Samuel Adams earlier?
Yeah, someone actually on my own, my personal channel, BusanKevin, asked me, can I buy Samuel Adams in Japan? And you can, absolutely.
Many stores have
Many stores. Now, the thing is, you can buy a lot of foreign beers, but you are going to pay a premium for them. Like,
they are exotic
They're
beers,
exotic, and they're really damn expensive. So, for example, someone asked me about, can I buy Sam Adams? And I've seen only Sam Adams Boston Lager, but I bought, actually for my birthday, I bought a few bottles of that, and that was like my treat. But they were about $5 a bottle, actually.
Yeah.
Something like that. But there are also like foreign food stores. There's a chain throughout Japan called Kaldi, which is like a coffee shop, like a coffee.
I don't know.
Yeah, they've been in Kobe and Nishinomiya, and I think there's some in Osaka, also Tokyo too.
Okay.
Atomic Boy X mentioned that too. He's seen them in Tokyo. So at those places you can buy, like, beers from India and Ireland and Europe, all over the place. So there's a lot you can buy.